You
Well, Lou, just real quick
yeah,
though, I'm gonna jump right on what you just said.
yeah.
For us though that are in the military and you've been there for a while, you know that you're in the people business. So that's going to be inherent to a true veteran or someone who spent some time. If you've been in the military only 3-5 years, you don't get that. That's that you're not there long enough to know that you're in the people business. Um, but if you've been there for 10, 15 plus years, you know that you're in the people business because you know you can't get nothing done without the people.
Say more about that because that's as a civilian from the civilian world, I've never ever heard it. I've never heard it said that way. Uh, it's resonating for me because, like I said, I truly believe that when we throw the word government and corporations around, it's like throwing the word race around. We're missing the boat. It has nothing to do with, shouldn't say nothing to do, but race is just corporation. No, the people. Who's the person that's being ignorant? Who's the person that's not being ignorant? Who's the person who's giving? Who's the person who's taking? So it's still people, right? It's still people. So can you say more about that? Because we have all the time in the world. I want to hear that. How is the military?
Yeah, we do have a little bit more time.
Okay, no, but if you don't mind, because
Yeah.
that's a absolute. Yeah, I want to hear what do
Okay.
you mean?
So, yeah. So, okay. So, from my experience and then working with other people. So, here's I'll put it to you in this framework. Okay. So, the military has its hierarchy, right? And that hierarchy that we look at is rank structured, and there's responsibilities that come at every single level. The reason why, after a certain amount of time in the military, you recognize that this is people business because the military is structured in such a way that there's only two forms or two categories. One is leadership, and the other one is followership, right? And in leadership, true leadership or leaders that understand that they're in the people business recognize, understand, and act on service to others, right? That's that's knowing you're in the people business because you know you're serving other people and not people serving you to keep going in that upward direction. So the military has uh, um, 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 gotten rid of in its lexicon the word supervisor and manager. There's only one word that they use, and that's leadership. So you can be a leader at different levels and apply a leadership skill in order to serve others. Because as a leader, you are responsible for those that you lead. And the thing of being in the people business is that you can't lead without loving who you lead, because if you don't do that, you lead them out of your own feelings, you lead them out of your own agenda, you lead them out of your own purpose. Therefore, you're leading them out of selfishness of what you can get from them to get you to where you want to go. So the military has very, very, very actively and seriously looked at this thing of people and have in writing, because it took them a while to get there, and I was there when it happened. It literally, the chief of staff and the sergeant major, and I want to say the joint chiefs of staff have put this together, literally did a three signature block letter between the chief of staff, the secretary, and the command sergeant major of the Army. I can't speak for the other services, but I will say for the Army, there is
Mm-hmm.
literally a memo out there, a letter signed by that says "People first." literally. So that, as opposed to it being sort of a thought process, something that we're hoping people come in and put together and do, the leadership said, you know what? We're not just going to talk the talk, we're going to walk the walk, because we're now going to put this in writing. So now you have to put people first. You are not going to be in uniform and be first. You're going to put people first. So in other words, you're number two.
Yes.
You'll always be number two. And there's nothing wrong with being number two, because when you take care of people, they will take care of you. That has been
number one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's how it's been. It's always been. So the military has decided, actively decided, consciously decided that people first, right? Mission always. It used to be mission. It used to be mission first, people always.
Always.
But they flipped that to be people first, mission always, because the mission will always be there, not the people.
Yep.
And the people have to put their efforts and everything else inside of that for that mission to even go on.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. You know what? When you said it that way, you've mentioned clips of that before. You've actually said some great content on that before, but I'm hearing it. I have this vision. I see it's almost like a endless loop of I serve, you serve, we serve, I serve, you serve, we serve each other. Like
right,
so the person who's literally I envisioned this is what I envisioned when you first said it. Maybe because I don't know, I'm hungry. I envisioned like a mess hall and being polite to the person who's serving you food, because they're in the military and they're of service and their leadership counts, because if you ain't eating right, you ain't doing other stuff right.
That's right.
And all the moving parts, all the moving parts. I have, you hear all these rules and laws, and jumping to civilian world, all these rules and laws are on, people flying planes and TSA and potential problems and terrorists and all that world. But like I have a friend, like the guy actually fixes planes. He makes sure that they run. I'm like, you guys are all worried about complaining about that your bag has to get checked on, which is all important. But do you realize the most important person, like the pilot and the person who's actually the pilot trust, which is the person who's making sure the engine works, who's making sure that, so it's all encompassing, right? The heroes in the front of the screen, but of service, and that translates to best celebrities. I bring celebrities, the best A-list celebrities. They'll always tell you, "Yeah, I'm in front of the camera, but see that crew? I ain't nothing. I am nothing without the writer, the film guy, the camera guy, the food." So and back to America, like I said from the beginning, the price of freedom. That guy in the mess hall, man. Yeah, that person who signed on the dotted line and said, "I'm going to join the military." However you got there.
Because that person in the mess hall, if they care enough about what they're doing, the food's going to taste good. If they don't care enough about what they're doing, that food is going to taste crappy, and it's going to trickle down to the soldier that says, "I'm hungry." Well, why are you hungry? You just left the mess hall because the food is crappy. I'm not eating that. Yep. So now I need to go to the PX to go get me something to eat.
Indeed.
So, it's all relative. It all means something. It all matters, because one thing can affect the other. So, the leadership aspect of that is ensuring that the person that's prepping the food, the boss or the person that is ensuring that food is prepared, hey, check on the person that's fixing it. And don't check on the person that's fixing it to make sure they're doing it right. Check on their emotions. Say how they feel, how they doing. You don't want somebody fixing your eggs or fixing something that has just gotten raked over the coals by something that they did or didn't do.
Yep.
Or had a bad day. Let them go clean the tables, or let them go, arrange the silverware or something like that, but get them away from the food. So
by all means.
yeah, yeah. So a people's purpose. Your state of mind means something at the time that you're doing something.
Yes.
If I'm not feeling good today, do you really think that I would be this talkative in this podcast? I'd probably say, hey, Lou, you say what you're going to say, man. I'll just sit here and I'll just, I'll nod, I'll do this thing, and I'll give you a thumbs up and all this other stuff. Or I'll say something that may not just be, it's like, Russ, usually you don't say stuff like that. What's going on? So we have to be in the state of mind that, we're ready to contribute and put our hands in the mess to make it something, our contribution to something. Sometimes, you can get into something, and because you're not in the right frame of mind, your emotion is affected, and you put your hands in there, and somebody says, I thought you were going to make a brick. Why doesn't that look like a brick to me? Well, that is a brick. Can't you see it? No, that's a brick is square, and it's like this, man. Right now, this thing is flat. What is that? Well, that's my brick. Okay. All right. So we got a whole different dichotomy going on here because of an emotional state of mind that a person is in. And I say that to say this: the military has come to terms with its ability to lead people and understanding where they are and meet them where they are, as opposed to pulling them and pushing them into something that they ought to be doing in the first place. So there's been a lot of trial and error and a lot of pain going through that. There have been a lot of commanders who've been relieved, and a lot of first sergeants and squad leaders have been relieved over losing their jobs over the fact that you didn't take care of people.
Yeah.
And so, that's my whole point about, people first, because if you don't, take in consideration, and people as if everyone looks at people first, no one will be left out.
Yeah.
It's impossible to be left out.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of, it's almost like, it seems like, thanks to the technology that's also available today, we might have hit a tipping point with this recent war. Not to get into a war topic, but like the world is like, whoa, we thought this shit was over.
Yeah.
Even though it hasn't, like there's like 3 or 4 other wars going on that we just, like Afghanistan, we just go unconscious to, as Yemen, I think. There's other places, and as anyway, just maybe this current conflict is the tipping point, and people first becomes a worldwide mission.
Yeah.
A world, like people empowering people and things like that.
And I'll add one more piece to this as it came to mind. So when we talk about people first, I've said in many training meetings before that we can do people first, but the other part of that is you have to have the ability to care beyond yourself.
Yeah.
That's that awareness. You said the word awareness. It's self-determining. By the way, Kelley, it's fully functioning, and then there's the world of self-determining,
right?
Which you can't really get to self-determining if you can't be fully functioning. And you could be fully functioning in one area of life. You could be a richest guy in the world, but still not self-determining in the areas of a relationship with your kids, let's say, or your partners. You could be.
And we got a couple of billionaires out there that are like that.
It sure seems like it. It sure seems like it. And it sure seems like it. It sure seems like it. It sure seems like it.
I tell you what,
it probably is.
Google Amazon and how they treat their people.
I'm not defending. I'm not defending anything. That's for sure. And I'm very aware of Amazon. And then you'll hear them say, or the Bezos say, look how many millionaires I made. Look how many billionaires I made. Look how many people I give jobs. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you could do both, man. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying you could also do this over here, which is, they seem to be shifting. They're paying attention. But again, I don't work for Amazon. I'm not. And it could go down the list of across the board. Um, the
Well, you know,
greed is out of
yeah,
control.
yeah,
The
and you
greed
can
is just out
actually
of
get
control.
too big to where you can't see
Yep.
through
Oh,
through
yeah,
the rest of the
yeah,
distance. You know,
yeah. And there's people around you who don't want you to see the distance.
right?
Their survival depends on your nonsense. And I'll assert
Exactly.
that, yeah, you know, I'll assert that when for a world leader like Putin to be able to do what he's doing, he's got to be surrounded with a lot of yes people who think the same, management by fear and guilt and afraid.
Yep.
You have
You
media
just
people
had
that
a
are,
guy voted out about that.
well, it happens, and you look at, anywhere. If you say something bad about the cartel in Mexico, you get
Yeah.
killed as a reporter.
Bye.
So, management by fear is a hard thing to transcend, but I think we are. I think we will. I think we will. But again, that's a whole other podcast. Um, Kelley, uh, obviously, we would love to play with you forever. So I like to offer you, if you care to do it, would give you the Being Trainable course, the online for like free. Like just check it out if over time. We'll just
Of
add you to it.
course.
Love your feedback.
Yes.
It's designed to be improved. So as you go through it, it's designed to be improved. Uh, One of the other aspects that's available, that's kind of formulated now too, is there's certain veterans who are really have a good skill of being coaches themselves and consultants themselves and like that. I find that one of the best ways to help someone get empowered in life is to train them to empower others.
Yes.
So it is possible that some veterans could end up becoming being trainable trainers, if you will. Like they actually take
Train the
on,
trainer.
yeah, and that's another way of us reaching, making a difference with what we say and giving people an opportunity to, because you can't fake it. Like I'm telling you, when your daughter, I'm going to speak to the men who are listening. I caught my, I can say this publicly. My daughter's kind of cool with it. I caught my daughter at 17 having sex in her room with a boy. Obviously, well, it could have been a girl, but it was a boy. Teach his own. To some, thank God, and to others, just don't hurt anybody. Okay, so I'm like, okay, I'm not supposed to see this. Is the first thing I said. Okay, I'm not supposed to see this. Okay, and I had a ghost word, so it was a situation where I'll address this when I come back. About 5 minutes into me driving to where I'm going, I can't really leave this open ended too long because who knows what it could become.
Right.
I was going to call her, and I said, but she might not pick up my call. So I just sent her a text. And I authentically meant this. I said her name. And then I said, your body, your choice. I believe that. Your body, your choice.
Right.
I have different opinions about certain things, but I'm very clear that my opinions, my beliefs, my thoughts, your body, your choice. And she goes, and she responded, thank you, Dad. Now, mind you, this is a boy who's been going out for a long time. If I told the truth, by the time I was 17, I'm surprised, I'm here. So I could say that. And it just allowed to give her the space. Now, as a responsible parent, I've also raised them that I could have any conversation about anything and stay in the conversation. I've also made sure that she was on contraceptives already as by the time she was 16. Maybe even 15. And this was from another female friend, doctor, who said, by the time you have to, don't be naive, don't be stupid, don't be unconscious. She did birth control for a little bit, and then she went on and now got this other thing that they have these days where boom, and you can't 5 years, it kind of puts you on hold. So I go, okay, she wanted to do that, it worked out. My point is that when you're committed to being a fully functioning person, it's both ways. It's not, I could have a conversation with anyone, anywhere, anytime. The way I say, do as I say, not as I do. These laws are for protect me and, F you. The inequality is all over the place. Legislative violence is blatant these days.
Yeah.
Well, the things that we're seeing, that people have been getting away with and are getting away with, I mean, it's not a surprise to me. All the stuff that people already have gotten away with, have gotten away with. You know what? Do over it. I'm willing to do a do over. But there's still a lot of people who aren't even willing to do that. they don't want to do over it. You ain't racist until the guy's dating your daughter that you don't like. All of a sudden, you're, that was one of my jokes as a kid. I go, my best pickup line was, "Hello, Dad." Father's daughters. You can't go out with him. I go, never tell a girl that she can't go out with a guy. It's just like you're going down the wrong tunnel.
Bunker.
Yeah. And people would say, "Well, you're not really black. You're Cuban." I go, "Oh, okay. Let's go ask your father. Let's see what he says." You find out how black I am faster than you. You find out it's like ridiculous, Anyway, let's end with that joke there. All right. The floor is yours. Any last words, Kelley? Any last words, Kelley? Please.
Just we kind of touched on it. Those of you out there who are already in uniform, who are already VA homeowners, looking to refinance, looking to streamline. Hopefully, in this economy, I really mean this. I know you're pressed to get cash out, but I really hope you're using that as a last resort. As you're becoming more aware of the Veterans Administration interest rate reduction loan, better known as VA EARL, make sure that you're talking to a competent, informed, intelligent loan officer and mortgage company. And for those of you who have a relationship with Jesus Christ, please pray about it before you proceed.
Yeah.
That my closing words.
Beautiful, beautiful. Russell?
Ditto. That's it.